I think one of the things that has guided me, and certainly guided me in my early time in management, was I'd read that piece by George Bernard Shaw, The Reasonable Man, and I actually wrote an article when I was a representative of the Pilots Union which sort of paraphrased that. You know, the one that is, a reasonable man adapts himself to the world, an unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. And I thought, actually, I like that. You know, that if you're going to be reasonable, then you're not going to make any difference, you know, because you're just accepting everything that's given to you. If you're going to make a difference in life, there are times when you're going to have to be unreasonable. And I felt actually being unreasonable was not a bad thing, because, you know, sometimes being unreasonable is what you have to be to make progress. So
your quote was, "The reasonable man gets
nowhere in negotiations." Yeah, yeah. And that's, you know, I believe that at the time.
You didn't feel that when you were representing the pilots?
It was something, as I said, I think I wrote that or quoted that. That was probably about 1983, 84. But it was based on that George Bernard Shaw. Yeah. And I thought at the time, yeah, it was right. And I'll be honest with you, I have been unreasonable. I said at an interview once that, you know, somebody called me unreasonable. It was one of my, it was a trade union leader actually in the UK said that I was unreasonable. And the interviewer said, you know, some people think you're unreasonable. And I said, I'm offended by that. And he said, are you? And I said, yeah. I said, I'm offended that it's only some people. Because to be honest with you, you know, there are times when being unreasonable, I got a...
Being deliberately unreasonable.
Being deliberately unreasonable. I got an email from somebody who's trying to lease us aircraft yesterday, and he sends me this lovely flowery email with a quoted rental rate for it. I just wrote back to him and said, look, you know, what you're quoting is ridiculous. I don't want to hear from you again. You know, now, you know, I'm sure he read that and I thought, what message is this guy trying to send me? The message was clear. I don't want to hear from him again. You know, but I could have been nice to him, and you know, we could have exchanged emails for a couple of weeks while I let him down gently. And I thought, I can't be bothered, you know. So, yeah. So, you know, why waste his time and why waste mine? Don't take advice from me. You know, that's honestly. But you know, this is a true story. We were negotiating with Boeing and Airbus, and well, this while I was at Aer Lingus. And as I say, everything I tell you is true. So the Boeing guys wouldn't engage with us, and you know, there was something going on. I accused them at the time of being influenced by Ryanair, but they were offended by that. So we have the Airbus guys in, and the chief Airbus negotiator flies into Dublin and said, by the way, I'm having dinner in Rome at 9 o'clock tonight, so we need to be finished. So, you know, I thought, no way are you going to be in Rome for your dinner at 9 o'clock. So at midnight, we're still in the Aer Lingus boardroom, and this guy has lost it at this stage. And he turns to me, and he goes, listen, Willie, and he does this to me. Listen, Willie, little Aer Lingus, in my face, little Aer Lingus is getting a better deal than one of my biggest customers, British Airways. So I thought, okay. So I went back to him and I said, little Aer Lingus doesn't give a, you know, get out. And I'm in the room, there was my CFO, Brian Dunn, and my chief chief operating officer, Seamus Kearney, three of us in the room. I said, get out. And we kicked these guys out. They didn't leave, actually. We got out of our own boardroom and walked out. And I was in Brian's office, and I said, guys, I'm sorry, but I said, I'm not taking that abuse from anybody. And Brian and Seamus said, no, you're dead right, absolutely dead right. And I said, what do we do now? You know. That was the response. The three of us are laughing. There we go. Geez, what are we going to do now? So what was interesting is I went back into the boardroom at about 1 o'clock to switch off the lights, and they were still there. And I thought, I told you guys to get out, you know, and I threw them out a second time. But fortunately, early the following morning, we got a call from one of the guys to apologise for their behaviour and to give us $1 million, it was, off each of the aircraft. We thought, grab it quick, so we grabbed the deal. A few years later, where am I sitting? In the BA boardroom, where the same guy comes in. And the guy who had phoned to apologise was with him. And, you know, we're sitting there, and I'm sitting opposite him, and I'm sitting there. And he's looking at his colleague saying, I said, you know, I'm going. And his colleague goes, oh. He goes, so they're whispering, and he goes, no, I never said that. No, he said, I never said that. So I just sat there the whole way through the meeting. You know, training as a pilot, gives you confidence as well, because they train you to make decisions. You know, you're trained to be able to make critical decisions in a very short time frame. You have to, you know. So I think my experience of flying training, going through that, certainly helped to shape me as well. Lots of the people I've met in business, you know, in my life have helped to shape me. So you know, I don't think you're born. I think you're made. You know, as you go through life. Certainly, what the one bit of advice I do give to people, and as I said, please don't take advice from me, but the one bit of advice I do give is, you know, watch other people and learn from other people, and you know, watch things that you like in somebody else's style and try and adapt that into your own style. Don't try and mimic somebody. I've seen people try to mimic Michael O'Leary, and it's a disaster, because you know, there is only one Michael O'Leary in the world, and thank God for that. And his style is, you know, he can get away with things that nobody else can get away with. But you know, I admire him. I have huge admiration for what he is, but I wouldn't necessarily do things the way he does. And that's why I say to people, you know, just pick up bits and pieces that you like. And the truth is, when you come under pressure, you're going to revert to your natural style anyway.